Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. And are you liking this light that makes me look like I'm glowing? That's fun. Anyway, it's a corner and the light's right there. But anyway, so that's neither here nor there. What's here is we are working on Macbeth, and today we get to hear from Macbeth again in Act 3, Scene 1. And we started out this scene talking to, or hearing from Banquo, who expressed that he was a little bit unsure about Macbeth because, keep in mind, both of them heard the witches' prophecies that Macbeth would become the Thane of Cawdor and then king, and now Macbeth has become king. The witches, they're believing that what the witches said were true, but the witches also prophesied that Banquo's children would be kings, not Macbeth's children. So Macbeth, since he and Banquo didn't get to decompress after they talked to the witches, Banquo was a little bit nervous now that King Duncan is dead that maybe Macbeth had something to do with it. So he's suspicious. He wanted nothing to do with it. He didn't want Duncan to be killed in order for this to happen, all that sort of thing. So he's a little nervous. Also keep in mind, Duncan's sons have fled because they sort of feared for their lives, but some people are taking the fact that one of them ran to England and one of them ran to Ireland as an opportunity to make them suspects, I guess, in the whole thing. So we started out the scene with Banquo saying that he was maybe a little bit nervous about Macbeth, and then Macbeth and Banquo ran into each other and they're like, hey, how you doing? Cool, we'll catch up later, blah, blah, blah. And then Macbeth pulls in these two murderers, so now it's just him and these two murderers are there, and he was like, when we talked the other day, I gave you irrefutable proof that it wasn't me that's been oppressing you all these years, it was Banquo, so Banquo is your enemy. And and they're like, yeah, of course we know that, and we totally get it, and we're men. And Macbeth is like, are you men who do things, or are you men who just sit around and drink beer and watch TV? Not that they had TV back then, but you know what I mean. And the murderers are like, no, we are men of action, we are men of words, we are ready to do the things. And Macbeth is like, you know that Banquo is your enemy, right? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, well, he's mine too. And the fact that he still gets to exist and breathe makes me so angry. Flames on the sides of my face. And they're like, don't worry, we'll take care of it. And through our lives, and then they get cut off, and Macbeth says, your spirit shine through you. Within this hour at most, I will advise you where to plant yourselves, acquaint you with the perfect spy of the time, the moment on it, for it must be done tonight. And something from the palace. Always thought that I require a clearness, and with him, to leave no rubs or botches in the work, Fleance, his son, that keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me than is his father's, must embrace the fate of that dark hour. Resolve yourselves apart. I'll come to you anon. So what's happening here is he's praising them for being like good guys, but then he's also saying, okay, I'm going to give you all the details. I'm going to tell you where to be. I'm going to tell you when to be there. And you have to make sure that it's far enough away from the castle that nobody suspects me, and so that it can't be traced back to me, and so that nobody thinks anything of it. You have to kill his son, Fleance, who's hanging out with him in the same fell swoop, because Banquo and Fleance have gone out riding before this dinner party that's supposed to happen tonight. And the murderers agree to this. They say, cool, and they leave, and Macbeth gets to finish off the scene with just a real quick, okay, Banquo's gonna die tonight, wah, sort of a thing. And that's the end of Act 3, Scene 1. So, yeah, it's like there's all sorts of stuff in movies that, once you kill your first person, then you get the taste for it and you just keep going. And this is sort of a hole that Macbeth is digging himself into, which is interesting considering how trepidatious he was about killing Duncan in the first place. But now that Duncan is dead, then he killed his guards, and now he's having Banquo and Fleance killed. How far is this going to go? And how sure he is now about the things that he has to do now that he is king, since he did these things to become king. And since he doesn't want to be responsible for Banquo's kids becoming kings, he wants his own kids to become kings. So, anyway, fun stuff, and we get to dig further into it tomorrow as we see just how many people Macbeth is going to kill. And I'll see you then for that. Mwah.